Hi, it's Lisa Cuneo, and welcome to my scrapbook table. Today's layout is based on a sketch by Sarah Davies for day 6 of 30 Days of Sketches with Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life. I liked the simplicity of this sketch, I liked the space around the photos, and I liked the shelf or the ledge that the photos are sitting on. I did end up adding a third photo to my layout because the bicycle picture was part of the story that I wanted to tell. I decide to take the two photos that are of kind of the bike path that we were on and the wildflowers that were so pretty growing along it, and I create mats on this tan paper that has a pattern on it. Also, you can't really tell, but the background paper has a tiny diagonal grid on it, and I really liked that. Most of this layout was based on a 3x4 card from Kaisercraft that you'll see in a moment here, but that card kind of drove the whole feel of this page. All the choices that I made were based on that one little cut apart card. It has a bicycle on it, and the color scheme came from that card, and I was really happy to get that used up. So I use my Tim Holtz trimmer here to create my mats. And I think about how I want to arrange my photos. I'm showing you the sketch there. I kept it in front of me most of the time I was working on this. I knew I wanted to use some papers from my scrap bins to create that ledge. Some of those papers are old Stampin' Up! Papers, some are old Creative Memories. The blue stripe that goes, or the blue strip of paper that ends up on there as well, is from the Kaisercraft sheet that the 4x3 card is from. I left out quite a bit of the footage where I did the inking, but I inked the frames. I inked the edges around my 12x12 background. I inked all the papers that made the shelf pieces. I didn't make you watch all of it because it took a really long time for some reason to get that all inked.
She didn't have one.
You see the notches in that
the month I could go, she ended up having to
bottom strip that's part of that little ledge there. I used a Creative Memories Order Maker cartridge to do that. I decide where I want some things. Eventually I will decide that I'm going to back that 3x4 cut apart card with some old scrap cardstock because I want to bump it up just a little bit so that I can tuck a piece of wood veneer behind that. I don't think I have you watch that. I think suddenly it just appears that it's raised up and the wood veneer piece is stuck behind it. I do end up finishing inking this blue strip on camera. Eventually I trim the one end off at a diagonal. I do that with one of the strips or two in each little shelf that I create so that I have some continuity there. And there, that's ready. So I get this piece glued down. Here comes my T-square ruler from Close to My Heart. I use that on just about every layout that I do to help me get things relatively straight. I don't do real well with eyeballing that for some reason. Then I use some Nuvo Deluxe liquid adhesive to glue down that narrow strip. I really like that blue paper from Kaisercraft. It's one of my favorite pieces, so I've been using it sparingly. Get my photos glued down where I want them. I apologize for the glare. I need to make some adjustments to my lighting. I'm still working on figuring that out, kind of learning as I go. We are very blessed here in Northeast Ohio to have an abundance of hiking, biking, walking trails, many options just within a 15-minute drive of our home. This gorgeous trail is probably less than 10 minutes from home to the trailhead, and we enjoy being out exploring those. Now I have a little ledge I'm going to put at the bottom. I did move my ledge to the right, or the left from the right that's in Sarah's sketch, just because how I wanted my bike photograph to be situated. And there, so the basics of my layout are glued down. I have this bike wood veneer and then this film strip piece, and this is where I end up. I pull that off, I back it with some scrap cardstock. I didn't have you watch that, but there, it's ready. And the wood veneer is tucked behind. I pulled out my brown and my blue color bins and found these really old photo corners, and I liked the touch they added here. Creating those color bins is one of the best things that I did when I was rearranging and reorganizing my scrapbook room in the last couple of months. I was kind of afraid to do it because I thought, once it's done, how could I undo this? But I just decided to take a deep breath and do it, and I'm really glad that I did. I know already it has helped me use up some things that otherwise would have just languished in the bottom of a plastic storage bag or a bin somewhere. So I'm really pleased with that. So the photo corners are on. I opt not to use that little wood grain pattern. I do have a couple of blue labels that end up on this page. This one at the bottom, I struggled with mightily, and I ended up cutting out that footage because it was just too painful to watch. It took me several tries to get it where I wanted it. So I end up very soon cutting out that footage and coming back to it later. And there, magically it's on. I also had a circle that I cut in half, a dark blue one. It says exhale, and I put that at the top, and I like the way that that pulls some of that dark blue that's in the middle and the bottom of the page up to the top there. I have this layout that I tuck to the left-hand side of my flower photos, and eventually I will balance that out with the other half of that label tucked in the bicycle photos below. Then I take another label piece and put right up above the words "today's story." I like how they draw attention to that. I have this title that says Explore. I'm not sure what it's made of. I've had it in my stash probably 3 years or so. I think it was in something I bought from Tuesday Morning. And I wanted to get it on this page because we were out exploring for the morning and it fits the mood and feel of the page. I think I'm going to add this bicycle, so I go ahead and put a little bit of ink on it. I believe that is Stampin' Up's Early Espresso ink, because otherwise it just blended in too closely to the background paper. And for the moment, I set it aside, but it does end up making the cut. And in the shots at the end, you'll be able to see where I did add that wooden bicycle. I like the title there, overlapping the photo, the Kaisercraft card, the strip at the bottom. And while it might be kind of hard to read on screen, in person it shows up just fine. I wanted a piece of something to add some dimension to the card, and I thought my best bet was my bin that I have mostly simple stories foam stickers in, so I pulled that out and went through it, and I opted to use a heart from that package that's on the left there that says big hugs. There was a heart on there that just seemed to fit this page. It's a tan color. It has a grayish blue grid on it, and I really like how that draws attention to the words today's story. Then I find some metal pieces that were from Tim Holtz, and I choose 3 that say happy, play, and life. I end up adhering those with actually some ancient brads that look like screw head tops. While I sorted through those for the ones that fit this layout, I found some that fit another layout I have in mind that's coming up, so I set those aside. I ended up getting 8 little brads on here, and I was really happy to use up several of those on this page. Now soon, for some reason, my filming stops, and so you don't see me actually finish the whole page, but there are some shots at the end where you can see how I finished it off. I'll go ahead and read my journaling. It just says, Dan and I didn't bike last summer because we were doing extra hiking to prepare for our hikes out west. We really wanted to get started again, so on Memorial Day we headed to the Freedom Trail in Kent. We started early enough that it wasn't crowded or hot. It was a beautiful morning and we savored some time together in the fresh air. May 29th, 2022. Here you can see I just used my scissors to poke holes in this paper. It's a very lightweight paper, so they went through pretty easily. And that's when I was putting on the brads. They say if you keep something long enough, it'll come back. So maybe brads are coming back because I've had these quite a long time. And here's some still shots. You can see where I fit in the bicycle and my journaling. Thanks for joining me. Goodbye.